What's up, guys? Jason up at the New 80s Revolution, back here in the theater room for part 2 of my TV shows on DVD collection. But first, a subscriber update as always. We are well over 1,000. We are at 1,036 subscribers, which is amazing. And more amazing than that, we are finally approved to be an official YouTube partner, which means I am getting paid for these videos. That's right. About 2.5 cents per 5 or 6 days this channel is making. So I will not hit Logan Paul status, of course not, but that 2.5 cents builds up. And in about 2 years, I'll be able to cash out at the $100 milestone that they pay out. So thank you all very much for that. More stuff. I've decided to jump back into the t-shirt world. So go check out teepublic.com. Type in the New 80s Revolution and you'll see 6 or 7 shirts pop up there. Many of them courtesy of the great Tom Strickland and his artistic design ability. There's of course the official New 80s Revolution logo, which is amazing if you haven't seen it. There's an LJN shirt. There's a New 80s Revolution in WrestleMania style font, which looks awesome. And then there's a couple little fun ones that I actually put up myself. So go to teepublic.com, check it out. A couple of people have already purchased, so thank you Brian Short for purchasing a shirt, and my man Swigs. Thank you very much for grabbing a shirt off of teepublic.com. Again, go check it out. I'll leave a link. When the shirts are on sale, which they are every couple of weeks, I get $2 per shirt. And when they are regular price, I get $4 per shirt. So again, not making millions, but pretty much any dollar that goes into the TeePublic account, I'm just going to use right on the website and just keep buying my own t-shirts because I really like to wear my face on a shirt. We left off in the D's. Actually, we left off in the C's. We left off on a show called Colby's. So I will jump right into D, and there really, in my world, is no other show that starts with D other than my all-time favorite television show, Dallas. Believe it or not, there are 14 seasons of Dallas. This went from 78 or 70, yeah, 78 to like 88, 89. So this show went a long time and is one of the most popular shows of all time. I don't know if that's coming in, but I just remember this show always. You know, my mom and my grandma were a fan of this show. I don't know how or why I would have been exposed to this at such a young age, because it was on late. It was on 9 o'clock on Friday nights. So, not that that's, you know, horribly late, but, you know, why would I be sitting around at 7 years old watching primetime, you know, Dallas on a Friday night? But I remember it as a kid, and I remember when Netflix first came out and they'd send you DVDs, I started watching this over again, and I have gone through this all 14 seasons 3 or 4 times. In fact, I'm already on season 9. I've started watching it again. This is just such a great show. Basically an oil family in Dallas. The ups and downs of an oil family. It's just it's a nighttime soap opera. So there's a lot of drama and romance and deceit and sex and lies and money and power, and it's just a great show. Don't worry about the dating of it, you know, 79 through 89. Once you start watching this, you will get sucked in to this family. In fact, I still today collect a lot of Dallas merchandise and memorabilia. So I love this show. This is tied for #1 in my all-time favorite shows. Another guilty pleasure. Last episode you saw my Beverly Hills 90210 collection. Well, another, like I said, guilty pleasure. This is a little bit later. This was high school, and actually this was right after high school. This aired, this started airing 4 years after I graduated high school. So I was in my early 20s, and picked up on Dawson's Creek. Big fan of the show. I knew back then when I was watching it that these were, you know, really older actors trying to play 15, 16-year-old kids, and their vocabulary just was mind-blowing for, you know, knucklehead 16-year-olds. So I knew right from the start that we had obviously overaged actors playing the roles of high school students, but nonetheless, I dug the show. I thought it was cool, and really, really, really think she's probably one of the most beautiful women in the world, Michelle Williams. And I was a big fan of hers, even back then watching the show. So Dawson's Creek, I have the complete series here. I actually found this about 5 years ago at a Salvation Army for $2.99 for a complete box set of Dawson's Creek. So that was a nice little find. All right, moving along. I have, I believe, well, I need one more season of this, but Diff'rent Strokes. They recently released the final season, which I believe is, it's season 7. Has been released, so the whole series is out. I just haven't picked it up yet. But Diff'rent Strokes, another late 70s, early 80s fantastic show about rich white guy adopts 2 poor black kids and brings them into his palace. And of course, the adventures ensue. But to me, with television, Diff'rent Strokes is absolutely an early 80s television icon. Have not gone through this yet, but of course, like with most of these, I have to sit down and start plowing through them, but I just can't stop watching Dallas for some reason. Maybe one of one. Yeah. One of the only bootleg sets that I have, because this series is expensive for some reason and really shouldn't be. In fact, I don't think any media should be expensive. You know, I'm still hung up on the Friday the 13th, you know, part 7 and 8, you know, being $70 on Blu-ray. I can't understand how media that is so easily obtainable from so many sources can have such a high price on a Blu-ray. But the Doogie Howser set, or the individual seasons, are very expensive, $50, $60, $70 a season, which is ridiculous. So I ended up buying this. I don't know where I got. I think again back with Netflix, when I would get discs and I would burn them and just make my own really crappy bootleg sets. But so I have the complete run of Doogie Howser, albeit bootleg, but it is from the original source, whatever. Of course, any Dallas fan, any evening soap opera fan, is a fan of Dynasty, which is not a Dallas spin-off at all by any means. Knots Landing is actually a Dallas spin-off, or took a Dallas character and brought it to the show. But Dynasty is just another one of those adult, you know, nighttime dramas that, in the same vein of Dallas. Again, it talks about another family, a rich family, adventures, lies, deceit. Have not seen this in a long, long time. I don't have every single episode. There's, again, like Dallas, this went pretty deep into seasons, so I think there's 10 or 11 seasons of Dynasty. I'm up to season 5, so I need to keep grabbing me some Dynasty seasons. And then once I have them all, I'll be able to dig into those and relive those memories. If I had to rank favorite shows, which I think I did on a previous episode, this is definitely in my top 5 list. It's so hard to even do a top 5 list. I gotta say top 10, but like they're all the same, you know. So even though I'm listing 10, they're all in like 4th place. So one of my favorite shows of all time, and such a fantastic, wholesome family show, airing during my favorite era of TV. This is early 80s. This is like 83 and beyond. Family Ties, starring Michael J. Fox, of course. In fact, one of the seasons of Family Ties, he was filming Back to the Future. So he was pulling a little bit of double duty. So if you watch Back to the Future, that's the era of Family Ties. Again, one of my favorite all-time shows. This is a nice collector's box set. Not sure about bonus features or extras in here, posters or anything, but still sealed because I actually watched this on bootleg a long time ago. So when the good set came out, I bought it, but haven't cracked it open yet. Certainly will watch it a second time straight through again soon, though. Great show, Family Ties. All right, this was a bootleg set until they released it, and I was very happy to see it released on official commercial release of Friday the 13th, the series. So if you're not familiar, Friday the 13th, the series came out around the same time as Freddy's Nightmares. But they're completely different. So Friday the 13th, the series basically has absolutely nothing to do with the Friday the 13th movie franchise. Never did, not during any early episodes. Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees never mentioned in this show. This is basically a show where an antique shop sold haunted items, and these guys try to go reclaim all of the items, and so each episode is like them going and trying to reclaim some of these haunted items that are potentially causing harm to those who buy them. Friday the 13th, the series, great series. I remember it on Fox. Obviously, as a Friday the 13th fan, when it first came out, I was excited, thinking, Friday the 13th, but it wasn't. But still, more adult. Definitely not like a brainless show. You got to think. It's a good show. Now, Friday the 13th was not about the movie. Freddy's Nightmares, my second and only other bootleg set. I was wrong when I spoke too soon with Doogie Howser. So I made this set. I ordered these from, there's kind of an underground DVD seller who sells a lot of these bootleg sets. And I ordered them from him, and they're fine. I mean, the quality's good. They got nice menus. But Freddy's Nightmares is an awesome show. It's kind of in the vein of, it's kind of a modern Tales from the Dark Side, Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, that kind of type of show. I think initially this wanted to have something to do with Freddy. In fact, he is in 1 or 2 episodes in the beginning, in the early, in the first season, first couple episodes. Freddy's actually in the show. But then as the show goes on, he's quickly gone, and the only mention of Freddy is during the opening credits. But after that, he plays no role. But in the first couple episodes, we do get to see Freddy Krueger, and these are pretty cool. I mean, again, some of them are cheesy and campy, just like Twilight Zone, just like Tales from the Dark Side. But overall a pretty good set, and I wish that this would get a real release. It has not. I don't know why, but I would love to see this come out on commercial release. The cheese factor is through the roof with this show, but any 80s nerd, anybody who remembers these times, anybody who wants to collect this stuff, cannot forget about Full House. One of the cheesiest shows of all time. You groan every single episode, but I love it, and I can sit and watch these episodes and I enjoy them, and they're horrible, and it's Full House, and I'm proud to have this massive, you know, $70 box set in my collection. Unopened, still sealed, haven't gone through it yet, but I will, of course. It's heavy. Full House. All right, we'll keep going here. I am a big Kenny Rogers fan. There's a little tidbit, a little trivia about the New 80s Revolution. Loved Kenny Rogers, the Gambler. And there was a mini-series back in the day, of course, back in the 80s, called The Gambler. And this is the 30th anniversary collector's edition of The Gambler with Kenny Rogers in a nice tin that used to play music, no longer does. Okay, there we go. So Kenny Rogers, The Gambler, the 30th anniversary collector's edition. Nice little tin. You know where I got this? At a cheap discount overstock store called Ollie's for about $3 because it's The Gambler and nobody cares. $3, I care, and it's in my collection. I got a couple seasons of the Goldberg, season 1 and 2. When this first came out, it was really almost too difficult for me to watch because it was just this 80s nostalgia overload. I mean, I loved the show, but when I see stuff like this, I'm like, I can do that. You know, that's my idea. I should do that. Adam Goldberg is a genius for having basically filmed his entire childhood, which I would give anything to have done. But he did it and then turned it into a TV show, a very successful TV show. I think that's brilliant. But again, it's kind of hard for me to watch because I want to be that. That's me. I want this. This is supposed to be me. This was my idea. Another guilty pleasure of mine, right alongside 90210 and Dawson's Creek, is The Golden Girls. So I have a complete run of, what is it, 6 or 7? 7 seasons of The Golden Girls. Hilarious show. Watch this today. You will legitimately laugh during the episodes. They are hilarious. This is a very funny show, holds up. It'll entertain the heck out of you today. Plus it reminds me of Saturday nights in the 80s. It was part of the Saturday night lineup with a show called Empty Nest, which has not yet come out officially on DVD, which I would really love to see. But more importantly, 4 times a year, Saturday night's Main Event would be on. And so I would be settling into my Saturday evening television, watching The Golden Girls, and watching Empty Nest, and some, you know, crappy 1-hour show that came on at 10, and then the news, and then Saturday night's Main Event. So kind of a disconnected reason why I like The Golden Girls, but great show, got all the seasons. Go check out The Golden Girls. They're hilarious. It's a fantastic, great, awesome show. One of the first shows I actually remember watching as a kid, Dukes of Hazzard, The Incredible Hulk, and The Greatest American Hero was one of the first shows that I remember watching and liking and getting a little following going of. Basically, William Katt is granted these sort of superpowers that he doesn't quite know how to use, and so he's a bumbling, silly superhero who can't quite figure out how to be a superhero, but he gets to solve crimes and all sorts of neat stuff like that. But Greatest American Hero, awesome theme song to this. The theme song that George Costanza also recorded on his answering machine, if you know what I'm talking about. But Greatest American Hero, one of my favorite shows, but not necessarily my favorite show, but one of my earliest memories of sitting down and engaging in a show. This was it. This was one of them. Very glad that this is complete. A complete commercial release of these. There's a couple of shows like this that need commercial releases. Who's the Boss and Mr. Belvedere need complete runs, but I am satisfied to have a complete run of Growing Pains, of course, with Kirk Cameron and Alan Thicke and 3 other people who are also in the show who kind of don't matter, but just great. One of those during this time there was a lot of family shows, so basically a camera in your living room as you live your life and go through your adventures. And Growing Pains, Belvedere, Who's the Boss, Cosby, basically camera in your living room type of TV show. And this one was good. This was just a classic 80s fun sitcom. Love it. Love me some Growing Pains. This one, when I saw at Walmart, just sitting there for $9.99, it brought back a lot of memories. I don't believe I've ever seen an episode of this show, but I remember the previews for this show very, very well. This is one of the early HBO shows that was aired on HBO. And it came on late at night, but the previews for it would be on prime time, 8 o'clock and on. I would remember seeing previews. So as I'm sitting there watching, Gremlins or Goonies or something, a preview for this show came on, and it seemed terrifying. It's basically called The Hitchhiker, and it is an original HBO series that I assume this hitchhiker guy basically brings terror to anybody who picks him up and brings him to their town. He does whatever he does. I think it's kind of like a Tales from the Crypt, but less horror related. So I think it's different, disconnected adventures each show for the hitchhiker. Lots of guest stars: Kirstie Alley, Gene Simmons, Michael Madsen, Bill Paxton, Lauren Hutton, all guest star in this series. The Hitchhiker, one of the early HBO original series. I don't really care about this show. I wasn't a big fan of this show, but when I saw it for the price that it was at, again at Walmart, I figured, it's classic. It's only 39 episodes. It's The Honeymooners. Again, one of those late night shows that when there was nothing else on TV, you would settle on The Honeymooners. This was always on at midnight or so in my world, so I rarely ever caught The Honeymooners unless I was up, sick or staying up late or whatever, and nothing else is on TV. So you watch a few Honeymooners episodes. Some people absolutely adore this series. I can take it or leave it, but I'll watch it. I'll watch it straight through. It says only 39 episodes. I know there's some stuff with the Honeymooners, that there's some Jackie Gleason show and the Honeymoon, like they're kind of the same. They had different names, but it's hard for me to even imagine that the Honeymooners only had 39 episodes. That seems like nothing. I mean, to me, the show, was on for years, but apparently there's only 39 episodes of the Honeymooners. So I will, of course, check this out, and I'm sure I'll laugh a few times at it, but Honeymooners is in the collection. The final show of part 2 of the TV shows on DVD collection I have never seen, but it is again one of those nighttime soap opera, adult soap opera type shows. It's got a guy that I like from the Amityville movie, James Brolin. Hotel. Hotel was another classic 80s nighttime adult soap opera show, produced by Aaron Spelling. Basically, let's see, a couple of people here run the elegant St. Gregory Hotel. Both of them become deeply involved in the constant intrigue and exploits of the very rich and famous. So basically, we got some hotel owners running the hotel, and there's a lot of action and adventure and intrigue from the hotel's guests. I guess kind of like Love Boat, but in a hotel. And this screams 80s to me, including James Brolin's beard. So I'm all about this. Can't wait to crack it open and check it out. Hotel from Aaron Spelling, part of the New 80s Revolution DVD collection. That is it for part 2. I will get part 3 up quickly. Much more to come. I won't go through the laundry list of what's coming. Thank you all for enjoying. Go check out TeePublic, buy some shirts. I'll see you next time.